Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Sunday afternoon chat on I'm talking about like an incredibly beautiful Sunday afternoon here in southern Oklahoma. It's about 75, 76 degrees out here. The wind is blowing just a little bit. We get a little bit of wind blowing every now and then. I don't even have a microphone on, shooting natural sound because it's just so beautiful out here. And I'm probably going to have to grab a rod and reel and make a few casts. I'm getting this off a little bit late in the afternoon. I've been messing around with Chris all afternoon, and we've had some things come up with the deer. By the way, this is Pastor's Day. Those of you that went to church this morning finally realized it was Pastor's Day. Most of us did not realize that until we got to church, I'm pretty sure. But we acknowledge Pastor's Day by thanking our pastor, Chopper McCartney, and Associate Pastor Bobby Reeves there at Midway Hills Baptist Church. Today, we acknowledge Pastor's Day by giving them a little gift, a little extra gift in an envelope, which everybody likes to get a gift in an envelope because it's not a new tie, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I'm sure that most of y'all did that to your pastor. Churches are extremely blessed to have a pastor that is a great pastor that stays there a long, long time and keeps harmony in that church and keeps the believers believing together and working together and walking together in the Lord, because a lot of churches have a lot of problems. They sure do. Churches are filled with sinners, and sinners sin, and so churches have a lot of problems. I've been in many churches had problems, and Chopper McCartney has preached for I think 27 years. He's been a pastor for 27 years, and he's really not gone through any of those big problems that a lot of churches had. So it's absolutely fantastic. We've got a great preacher up there. We just really do. We got a good pastor. I'm in the habit of calling him a preacher. I'm an old Baptist, and we call them preachers. And we had a pastor's day there at Lake Killer that Chris came up with the idea that we did. Our focus chapter did it, and we did it for years and years and years. We'd bring in all these preachers, and we'd have a fishing day for them, and they would fish on a Friday usually, and they'd come in on a Friday, and we'd fish Friday, and we'd fish. They come in. I guess they come in either Thursday or Friday. We had a big dinner for them that night, and then they fished the next day and went home. Either Thursday and Friday or Friday, Saturday. I'm not sure how we did it, but we got them where they could get back and preach on Sunday, obviously. And we had a lot of guys that come out. We put a preacher with a fisherman, and we'd have 25 or 30 or 40 preachers some years do it. And the guys could always get off work to take a preacher fishing. I mean, what boss is not going to let you off work if you want to take a preacher fishing? But if you have not thanked your preacher, you have his telephone number. Just drop him a little text and tell him how much you appreciate him, and I think your preacher would enjoy that. I think you would appreciate that a lot. I want to start this week's chat off, or I guess I've already started, but I want to start off by talking about something bad to begin with. And we've had a lot of heartbreak and stuff during our episodes here over the last 2 or 3 years with our deer. Our first deer that we started with, lovely little Lucy, my girl, my baby girl, a little abandoned doe that showed up in the yard. God just dropped her out of heaven to give us some happiness and some joy, and also some heartache. It's almost like raising another kid, a prodigal child, I would probably say. But she was great. She was beautiful. She ended up having triplets of her own. Many of y'all are here because you got involved with this channel, Jimmy Houston Outdoors, and which is now Jimmy and Chris's Twin Eagle Ranch channel, and the Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing is a separate channel. So you need to make sure you're subscribed to Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing, as well as this channel right here, which is Jimmy Houston Outdoors, Jimmy and Chris Houston's Twin Eagle Ranch video channel. But anyway, many of y'all got involved with us when Lucy had her triplets. When he had her triplets, those videos became very, very popular because we went out in the woods and found her right when she was having her third baby, and it was absolutely fantastic. She raised a couple other deer, a couple orphan deer that we had, Forrest and Jenny, a couple of twins that were born in the pen and abandoned. We named the one Forrest because he was crippled. We named him after Forrest Gump. We have two Forrests that people ask about. One is Forrest Wood, the great friend that has gone on to be with the Lord, along with his beautiful wife Nina, and they're together again in heaven. And he's the man that started Ranger Boat Company. Great man. I've run Ranger boats ever since. I bought my first one in the fall of 1968. So I've run them a long, long time, about 50 years. And got a brand new one on order right now, as a matter of fact. I've got a 2023 model on order right now, which we'll be getting sometime in the next month or so. We'll do a beautiful walkthrough once we get that boat. It might be a while before we get that thing. But we named him Forrest because he's crippled and he couldn't walk. He was like Forrest Gump, and he's crippled in his feet. But like Forrest Gump, he got well and he did just fine. But Forrest has suffered a really, really severe injury. It's very possible that it is a life-threatening injury or a life-ending injury, however way you want to say it. We located Forrest. Actually, Apache found him. We was looking for him quite a bit. He came through the yard the other day, barely could walk, and he came down and he laid down by the trees, by the water, and I took some video of him, and I was trying to get down here. It was real early in the morning, right after daylight, and I was trying to get down here, and he got up and he walked off, and I couldn't find him anymore for a day or two. I couldn't find him. Apache finally found him over under my partner's house, under the deck around his house. He's got a pretty high deck like we have, and he was under that deck. And Apache found him over here, and he said his leg's really bad. And I said, well, I know he was limping terribly. He could just barely walk. And so I went over there and I found him last week, and I gave him some carrots, and he was really, really badly injured. And what we found out that's happened, I didn't know at the time, but Apache went back and is giving him food and carrots, and he's been gored in a fight. The wild is very wild, and they do many times fight to the death. And one buck deer will kill another buck deer. I mean, it just will absolutely happen. But he has been gored back in the hindquarter, close to his butt. I mean, not exactly, but just very close. And the horn, you can see where the horn has gone up in his hindquarter. And it's a terrible injury. It's bleeding some. When I saw it the other day, it was bleeding. And not much, not a lot. And so we don't know if he's injured internally. If it is, it's very definitely probably a life-threatening injury. If he's not, perhaps God will heal him. That's what happens in the wild, is simply they don't have doctors, they don't have physicians, they don't have Dr. Jack there to go in and work on your heart and make you well again. They have God. That's all they've got. And God will either heal Forrest of his injuries, or he won't. Forrest is his 2-year-old, big, beautiful rack on Forrest. A beautiful 8-point rack this last year. It's got 10 points this year, or 9 or 10, and just absolutely, just a beautiful deer. He eats carrots out of my hands. I went over there and fed him some carrots out of my hand. He ate a few, not many, ate a few. He just didn't feel like eating. He's hurting so bad, and I'm sure sick inside also, particularly if some organ is damaged or injured. But we've got some of that on video. We shot that on video. We'll have it in this week's deer videos of Lucy's herds, and those will be, I think we've got those scheduled for Wednesday night, Thursday night on the new kind of format. Wednesday night and Thursday we'll be showing the herd videos of all the deer that hang around the house here and hang around on the ranch, and some of our other activities, running around on the ranch and seeing elk and this, that, and the other. And then we'll do the antlers video, and of course Forrest is usually in the antlers video also. He's the star. He's the star on Friday and Saturday. We'll let you know. But Forrest is injured pretty badly. Forrest is injured pretty badly. I want to also then change that and change it to a absolutely fantastic thing, something that happened this morning in church. It was just amazing. Before we went to church this morning, Chris and I were talking, and I just told her, I said, honey, you're just talking so good. I mean, there's a lot of days that you say things I can't understand. Sometimes you say a whole sentence and the last word will be wrong, and then I can't understand what you mean by the sentence because that last word being wrong. But I said, it seems like every day you're saying more and more and more, just in a general conversation of talking to me. Just in a general conversation of talking to me. And I said, honey, you know what you need to do? You need to start singing in church. You were singing in church just a little bit, and you're not doing that anymore. And she says, I don't know. I don't think so. And I said, yeah, you need to be singing in church. And I said, you can read, and they have the words of the songs. Of course, if they sing the old Christian songs, she knows them all anyway. But I said, if they sing songs, you know the words of most of them anyhow. And if you don't, the words are up there, and you can read, so you can read them. And she says, I don't know. And I said, no, you need to be singing this morning. And in church this morning, we started, and they were playing some old Christian songs, and she started singing. I turned around, I said, you need to be singing. And she started singing. I could hear her sing. And I got so excited, I got so exuberant, and I know people probably thought I was crazy, but I started crying, and I was laughing at the same time. I turned around, looked at her, and she was just singing away, and I would just um, um, I was just overjoyed. I was so overjoyed, and she did so well. Now, I'm not saying she's got her beautiful singing voice that she had before she had her stroke. I'm not saying that, but I've never had a singing voice, so it just sounded to me, it was beautiful. And I believe to God it was beautiful too. I believe it was beautiful to God. But she started singing, and I would have to coach her. She would quit. She'd sing a while. I'd turn around and say, "You got to be singing." She'd start singing again, and I'd turn around, back around, and just, and it was fantastic. It was fantastic. That's what I can say. A big part of my week this week was spent, about half of the week, Monday, Tuesday was Wednesday, going down to Montgomery, Alabama, and going to Ray Scott's Celebration of Life. Celebration is the man that founded the Bass Angler Sportsman Society, BASS. By the way, Homer Circle, who's Homer's in heaven with Ray. Homer Circle was the one that came up with the name for Ray Scott, the Bass Angler Sportsman Society, an acronym from BASS, Bass. And the bass was the fish that started it all. And we had a great celebration of life down there. I did a video talking about that as I was driving back. I drove down to Montgomery, Alabama, 880 miles on a Monday, and went to the celebration Tuesday, headed on back, and I was at Sherry's house, which is 680 miles back, to Sherry's house at 3 o'clock on Wednesday morning, came back on down to the ranch. So a good part of my week has been spent doing that. I did take and Thursday go over to Lake Fuquay here in Oklahoma, and was going to go over there, try to do a crappie show. There's a lot of big crappie in Fuquay. Fuquay is only about an hour away from here, an hour and a half away from here, and it's a great little city lake of the city, Duncan, Oklahoma. It's not far from Duncan, Oklahoma. Maybe, I don't know, 5 or 10,000 acre, probably not 10,000, probably 8 or 10,000 acre lake, something like that. I don't know how big it is. It's a nice lake. It's a small lake, but it's probably 8 or 10,000 acres. But anyway, I went over and fished with my buddy Steve Perkins. Steve has fished that lake a lot, won a lot of tournaments over there. He lives over there really close by, so it's sort of his home lake. And we caught a lot of crappie, and most of them were little crappie. Not very many of them were big crappie. A lot of them were little crappie. They've got to be 8 inches long is all to keep there. And of course, we wasn't going to keep any anyway, but we never caught quite a 12-incher. We caught some 11.5 inchers, but we started bass fishing. We did really, really good bass fishing. We'll probably put some of that up here pretty soon on the Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing channel. Again, if you're not subscribed to Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing, go in there and subscribe to that channel on YouTube right now. We've had that channel lit up for 2 weeks. There's about 2,500 people or something on there, 2,300, something like that. But anyway, be sure and subscribe to that channel. If you're not subscribed to Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing and you care anything about fishing, subscribe to that channel. We've done quite a few videos this week on Friday, Thursday and Friday. Friday we filmed all day, and we did quite a few videos. Some of them are 5 or 6 minutes, up to 10 or 12 or 15 minute videos, maybe 20. They're how-to videos, things that will tell you how to catch more fish. A lot of them how to catch you right now, like how to fish the edges of the grass, how to become an expert at fishing a crankbait, how to B&B a spinnerbait. You know how to B&B a spinnerbait? Yeah, that's going to teach you how to B&B a spinnerbait. But you got to be over on Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing to do that. We won't be showing any of those here on the Twin Eagle Ranch channel, none at all. Some of you have also asked me to address the walleye cheaters. That made the news, made the big news, didn't it? Yeah, you know, somebody goes out there and does something really good, like win the Bassmaster Classic, or win an Angler of the Year title, or win the Major League Fishing Championship, or whatever, win an FLW tournament. Nobody makes seeing it or Fox, but you let somebody cheat and get caught. And they've got it on Fox News, they've got it on CNN, they've got it on just about everything. And a lot of people said it put a real black light on tournament fishing and made tournament fishing look bad. Did just the opposite of that. My comments are going to be very short and sweet about it. People have cheated in bass tournaments forever. I've been in tournaments where people have get caught cheating. They boot them out. Cheaters do not last in bass fishing tournaments. And this proves that they don't last in walleye tournaments either. Don't know how long those guys have been cheating. I think somebody said they'd won over $1 million. So I guess they've been cheating for a while. But if they won that much money, that's a lot. I don't know if there's any tournaments that pay $300,000 or $400,000 or $500,000 like some of the bass fishing tournaments do. But it's probably some of them pay $100,000 or $150,000 maybe. I don't know. But the cheaters get caught. Cheaters will always get caught, just like your mom and dad taught you when you're a baby. Cheaters never win. Well, cheaters can win a tournament, but they can do it occasionally. But cheaters never win. They just don't win. And these guys got caught. Chris and I was fishing Lake Dardanelle over in Arkansas one time. Just fishing, just out there fishing on a Thursday or Friday, and we were fishing in this flat that we call the number 2 hole. We had several holes that we named over there. Those holes still have those names, some of them that we gave them years ago, and so we was fishing the number 2 hole, and the water had gone down a little bit, and we saw the corner of a box sticking out. We went over there, pulled my trolling motor over there by it, and I just wondered what it was, and reached down there and picked it up, and it's full of bass. It had 8 or 10 big bass in it, 3, 4, 5, 6 pound bass. And I thought, man, somebody is cheating in a tournament. That's why these are here. Well, I took a couple, 2 or 3 5-pounders out of there and let them go and put the box back. I went over there the next day, either the next day or the next day was a Saturday. I'm not sure which. And we got there before daylight, put the boat in the water before daylight, and we'd driven. It's 100 miles from our house over to Lake Dardanelle, and there were guys launching for a tournament. And I told Chris, we need to hurry and get in here before this tournament starts, so we can get out there and get in some of our favorite spots and start catching fish before these tournament guys does. Now, I don't know all of y'all fish tournaments, and I can't believe you did that, Jimmy, but we did. And we're fishing tournaments. We want to get out there and catch us some fish. But when I put her in the water, and I backed Chris in the water, and she's in the boat, and I told her, I said, I want to go find a tournament director and tell him about that box. And I went and found him and told him about it. And I said, you got somebody in here who's probably cheating. And I told him where the box was. And he said, well, we've got some guys, some brothers over here from, I think he said, Ozark, that have been winning a lot of tournaments. And some of the guys are wondering about them because, boy, they're either really good or something. And I said, well, somebody had some fish staked out there. And so they had a box stash full of fish. And so I told him where they were, and they actually got somebody to go hide, watch that area, and the guys came to pick the box up and took the fish out, and they caught them, and they disqualified them. And we have actually passed laws here in Oklahoma, and many states have. I know they've done it in Missouri, I think Arkansas and Texas, same. It is a felony to cheat in a bass fishing tournament. It is a felony. You will go to jail. You will go to prison if you cheat. You should do that in Ohio, where that was also. That should be a law up there also. They said that the authorities were checking it out, so I don't know what happened. But you should go to jail. I mean, if you cheat in a bass tournament and win $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000, and somebody said these guys were going to win like $29,000 or $50,000, something, that's a lot of money. It's just like robbing a bank and stealing $10,000 or $100,000 or $1,000. Robbing a get and go and stealing $1,000, or putting a gun to my head and stealing $1,000 from me. I don't know how you could get $1,000 from me, but anyway, but you know, it is a felony. It is a felony, and in Oklahoma, and it should be in Ohio. If it's not now, it probably will be. So that is pretty much stop cheating. And the other thing that happens in bass tournaments, if you're caught cheating, you're through, dude. You're through. You're not going to be allowed to enter any more tournaments at all. We had a guy here in Oklahoma that was a one-arm guy back years ago that was winning all the local tournaments. He was handicapped. He had only one arm, and somehow he could fish and put that down there and wind with that one arm, and he could still fish, which is fantastic. It's fantastic that he could do that. Well, he started winning all these tournaments. And so he actually called me up one time when I was fishing national tournaments and doing well in national tournaments, and started asking me questions about fishing national tournaments. And he asked a lot of questions that were pretty weird. I thought that they wasn't right. And I told Chris, in fact, I talked to him for about an hour. He wanted to get involved in national tournaments. And one of the things he said was, what if in national tournaments, how do you determine whose boat you take? I said, well, you normally flip a coin. But sometimes, I said, it depends on who you draw. If you draw one of the big boys, you draw Bill Dance or Roland Martin or some of the big heavy hitters, you go in their boat. I mean, they're the big boys. You go in their boat. You don't flip a coin. But I said, even the big boys, sometimes somebody's just so ornery, and they'll say, I'm going to flip a coin and see whose boat we go in. And they'll do it, because I've had to flip people several times myself. Flip a coin, heads or tails, see who goes. And then flip a coin to see whose fish you go to, yours or his. And so he didn't like that. He said, well, I need to go in my boat because I'm handicapped. I'm really important. I got my boat set up. I said, well, I can understand that. You know, you got to set up special for that. But I said, you know, if you draw some of them big guys out there in a tournament, you really, you know, the correct thing to do is go in their boat. I mean, that's just proper etiquette, and we have a lot of etiquette in bass fishing. And so anyway, asked a lot of weird questions, and but he never did go fish national tournaments. But not very long after he talked to me, maybe about a year, they caught him, and he actually had a fake live well in his boat. That's why he wanted to go to his own boat, because his only boat had a fake live well. And he told me that he always let his partner run the boat. He said, you shouldn't mind going in my boat. Even a big star shouldn't mind going in my boat, because I'll let him run the boat. He can run the boat. I'll just sit in the back and fish. If I really need to run my boat, it's real fast. It's got a real big motor on it. It's real fast. And I thought that was kind of strange, but that you would go in. I mean, I go in my boat, I want to run a trolling motor. I want to run that Minn Kota up there myself. But anyway, come to find out, he had a fake live well, and the guy in the front of the boat be concentrating fishing. And many times I never looked to the back of the boat until that guy has got a fish on, or something I need to help him with, or something I need to ask him to do in the back of the boat. But the guy would be concentrating, and all of a sudden he'd just have a fish. He'd be coming over the side of the boat with a fish. And he actually had a fake live well, and he was back there while the guy was fishing, somehow slipping that fish out, tying it on, throwing it overboard, then jerking it back in, saying he had a fish. So they caught him, and they disqualified him. And that was back in the early days before they had a felony. But it's a felony now, and they've caught a few people, and they put them in jail. They put them in prison for that happening. So that's my idea about the walleye cheaters. I'm glad the walleye cheaters got caught. And can I tell you, if any of you are out there thinking about cheating at a bass tournament, you're going to get caught. You might get away with it a time or two, but you're going to get caught. And if you do it in Oklahoma or several of the states surrounding, I think about all the states around here, they're going to throw your fanny in jail. Your cheating fanny is going to jail. That's all there is to it. And because it is a felony. It is a felony. I think the tournament has got to give away so much money before it's, maybe like $1,000 or something, or $5,000 or something, tournament post before it does that. Okay, I also wanted to mention, that's enough on the cheating deal right there, but that's my opinion. I think it's good that they caught them. I think it's horrible that they're cheating, but I think if you cheat, you're going to get caught. And I think it's good that they caught them. So, but anyway, and again, to kind of clear up the deal on these channels, Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing is all fishing now. There'll be nothing about the deer on there. It's all fishing. Subscribe to Jimmy Houston Outdoors Fishing on YouTube. Facebook is still stay the same. Facebook will not change at all. Chris and Jimmy Houston Twin Eagle Ranch is the old Jimmy Houston Outdoors channel. Got 121,000 people on there. Don't know do anything but keep watching. We do over 700 videos a year for social media. Our other channel, Catch a Better Life, is our devotional channel. And Lordy mercy, if you're not on that channel, you need to be on there. We've got 21,000 people on there, greatest people in the world. We read a scripture out of God's Word every day. We read a devotion every day that's built around fishing. And we give a fishing tip for every day. And I'm telling you, God will reward you. God will change your life to the better if you just spend a little time in God's Word once a day. Just a little time. That's all you got to do. God will absolutely change your life. Absolutely change your life. I've got an appearance coming up this week. I will be at First Baptist Church, Edmond, Oklahoma. That's up in Oklahoma City, North Oklahoma City, right there in the Oklahoma City area. If you're anywhere within 50 or 100 miles or so of Oklahoma City, you want to come to that this coming Thursday night. That'll be Thursday, October 13th, 6 o'clock. That's right, it starts at 6 o'clock. So if you're very far away, you might need to take off. We'll leave work an hour early. We're going to be feeding you there. We got a meal, got some prizes, a lot of big going on. It is there, they call it something feed or something dinner 2022, and I can't remember what that was. I saw the flyer on it, but anyway, we've got that up on our Facebook, by the way. More information about it on our Facebook, so you can go on our Facebook page, Jimmy Houston Outdoors, all capital letters, Jimmy Houston Outdoors Facebook, all capital letters, and check that out. That is First Baptist of Edmond, Oklahoma, First Baptist Church, Edmond, Oklahoma, right there in the Oklahoma City area, this coming Thursday, October 13th. If you have some friends in your life, if you have some family that are not walking with God the way they should, if you're not walking with God the way you should, come on over there and spend that evening with us. God will reward you in amazing ways. God will start doing amazing things in your life. If you just give him that 2 or 3 hours next Thursday evening there at First Baptist Church, Edmond, you'll see God start to do some amazing things in your life. I guarantee you. The following Thursday, by the way, we'll be down in Fort Worth, Texas, the Cast for Kids Gala. Cast for Kids. C-A-S-T, Cast for Kids Gala. I'll be speaking at that event on October 20th, the following Thursday. in Fort Worth. We'll have more information about that up on our Facebook page as well, with the address and the facility where we'll be doing it. We've had that event down in Waco for the last couple of years. I think this is they have them all over the nation, but this is the one in Fort Worth, the Cast for Kids Gala, they call it. It's a great event, wonderful evening, wonderful meals, lots and lots of things going on. It's just something you don't want to miss down in Fort Worth, Texas. I want to end this thing just by talking about something that's real, real dear to my heart, and it's called hope. Hope. We are all hoping for something just about all the time. And can I tell you, if you put your hope in Jesus, you'll have things happen in your life that are beyond belief. I'm a big Christian music listener, and probably my favorite out there is, I've got a lot of favorites, but one of them is Crowder. And Toby Mac. I mean, I've got several favorites, but Crowder. And his song, All My Hope Is in Jesus, every time I hear that, it just goes down to my very soul that I put all my hope in Jesus. The day that Chris had her stroke, I put all my hope of Chris living in Jesus. And she's alive today, 18 months later. I put all my hope, once I found out she couldn't talk, I put all my hope that she'd be able to talk again, which she can, in Jesus. I put all my hope that she would walk again. She hasn't yet. She's getting close. But keep in mind, the doctor told me the following morning when I finally made it back to that hospital, she would probably never leave there alive. That's 18 months ago. So I put my hope in Jesus for everything that's transpired, and Jesus has delivered. He's delivered a lot because of your prayers out there, hundreds of thousands of prayers for Christmas. But whatever you're going through right now, whatever you're going through, whether it's great things happening in your life or you're going through some struggles, whatever it is, put your hope in Jesus. Put all of your hope in Jesus. When you put your hope in Jesus, amazing things begin to happen. While you're hoping in Jesus this week, encourage everyone you come in contact with. Just encourage them. Encourage them however way you want. Say something good to them. Say something nice to them. When you talk about somebody, say encouraging things and not disparaging things about who you're talking about. People don't want to hear you saying bad things about somebody else. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to be involved in it. Some of them will gossip. They like to do that. They want to hear all the dirt on everybody. But really and truly, when you say bad things about somebody out there to whomever you say them to, they don't want to hear that kind of stuff. So what you need to be, even if you know some bad stuff about people, say good things about them. Say positive things about them. Get the bad stuff that you know about them out of your mind, and you say encouraging things to them. When you talk to those individuals in person, say encouraging things to them. Just smiling at people you don't even know is an encouragement. Sometimes just a simple smile can light up somebody's day. So whatever you're going through out there this week, good or bad, you may be going through the most trying, difficult times of your life. I hope I've already gone through the most trying, difficult things of my life, but I might not have. But through all of those difficult times I've had, physically, financially, family, health-wise, business, everything, through the most difficult times, all of my hope was always in Jesus. And he brought me through all of that. He's bringing me through the deal we're going through right now with Chris. He's bringing Chris through this. He's bringing Chris through this. So, whatever you're going through, if you're going through great things in your life, put your hope squarely on Jesus. He'll make them better. If you're going through the biggest struggles you've ever seen, keep your hope on Jesus. All my hope is in Jesus. And while you're doing it, encourage everyone around you and watch fantastic things happen. Guys and girls, go out there and have you a great one today. And remember, I sure do love you.